States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We have Mr. Brooks with us only for a few minutes, so I'm going to take the field vote out of order. Jeremy, did you want to brief on that? Bob, you have the presentation.
Is he calling in from?
Unclear, I don't know.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so sorry, I wasn't able to mute. Can everyone see the graphic of the field?
Not yet.
Okay.
All right, we're good, Bob, Jeremy.
Okay, so I'd like to orient you to the graphic of the field. So I'm going to start at the 12 o'clock position at the very top of the screen. You'll notice the blue line that goes right to left and then comes down towards the bottom of the field. That's the wetland area. The next line moving down is the red line, which is the build back area. So as you can see, this plan does not require any build backs, any variances, and we've adjusted the plan so both fields fit within the buildable area as described by conservation. Moving again down the screen towards Brush Field, you'll see a half U10 size soccer field. Around the north and south sides of that field, or left and right, are a walkway with bleachers. The feature to the left side of the field is a drainage management feature. Continuing down the field, the walkway continues around a full lacrosse and soccer size field. From there, moving to the south or the right side of the large field, you'll see a paved area with terrace seating. Along that terrace seating on the south side of that is the accessible walkway. To the right of the terrace seating, up close to the building, is where the accessible parking will be. And then if you come back down to the field, there is a emergency access route from Brush Field. And then I'm being told they can also access from the other side. Of note, the walkway that is started around the full-size field connects to the walkway at Brush Field that ends where that gray line ends on the south side of Brush Field, or about be about 5 o'clock position to where Brush Field is grayed out. So are there any questions right now that I can answer?
Doesn't look like it. I can't see any hands. Oh, it's just Jeremy. Never mind.
Yep,
yeah.
and then also to update for the budget is we are currently under budget. We have a delta. We are finalizing some things, so we'll have a better number for the next meeting. But right now, we are under budget. And if we go out to bid, we should be on schedule to break ground as soon as March or April, weather dependent.
And what's the opening day, so to speak, if you break ground in April?
So that would be dependent on the March or April breaking ground.
Yep.
I believe the project was about a 160-day project. Bob, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, 3 to 4 months was the estimate.
Again, prior to
So
obviously
it could
receiving
be
any
used
bids
for
or
the fall.
vendors, but yes.
Okay. Okay.
Should be August, September, and it should be, unless we really bust schedule with the construction, should be ready for the beginning of the school year or the end of the summer.
Sounds good to me. You're looking for a vote of some kind?
Correct. We need a vote to move this forward to conservation to close out the notice of intent, and then the notice of intent being closed out will allow us to move closer to the bid process and opening up for bid.
Oh, sure. Bob, you want to say anything?
No, the only thing I really wanted to add is that, as you see in the picture right here, as Mr. Brooks mentioned, there's no longer 2 full-size fields due to the restrictions of the wetlands. There was a picture that was presented to the committee prior to that showed this as one large field. During the subcommittee discussion, the division actually created 2 individual fields, allowing a little bit more playability and scheduling flexibility as opposed to 1 field, which the committee deemed valuable. I have to see who's unmuted, but not mentioned, but included in the plan are additional lights as well too, and scoreboards as requested in the original design. And this layout right here allows full lighting from both fields, utilizing the existing poles already on Brush Field and installing new poles for the 2 new fields. So, I think we hit all the targets, ultimately just with 1 smaller field than originally planned due to the wet restrictions.
So also, but brought up another point. So there's a cost-saving aspect to that too. So as we have to replace and repair turf fields, this will allow us to do it in serial, so we don't have to replace 1 large field. So the larger field will likely get used more and have to be replaced sooner. So that'll allow us to extend the life of that smaller field as well, and not incur the cost burden of replacing all of it at once.
I have a couple of questions for Bob. When this is, thank you. When this is actually underway, being built, are you the person who has to oversee it for the school department to make sure that everything, like you don't have an OPM for a field? Are you the
Correct. Yeah,
person?
I will work with the engineers and whoever the winning bidder is on this project to complete it, yes.
Okay, and one other thing, I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this, but this will be the largest field complex that we have in town, right?
Square footage-wise, I can't comment on that, but largest turf field, definitely. I mean, this will be 2.5 fields, so
Yeah.
we're calling it 3 fields.
Okay, and there still won't be any bathroom facilities, is that correct?
Nothing new bathroom on the field, just what's in the school building itself currently for this project.
And how can those bathrooms in the building, which is a little bit of a steep uphill walk, how can they be accessed by people at the games?
Currently, right now, they can only be accessed if the building was open. So that would have to be a scheduling conversation. Typically, right now, on nights and weekends, there's no access to the building that we provide. We do have 2 outside single bathrooms that are accessible, but they're just not open 24 hours a day. So those do require a key to get into them.
Where are they?
On the side of the building.
All right, but they're still up the hill.
They are up the hill, so there are no bathrooms or water on the field currently.
And there was mention that this would come in under budget. Do you know how significantly under budget? Would it be enough to pay for anything else?
So right now, it's definitely estimated to be under budget, more than $500,000. We think it may be higher than that, but that's the conservative estimate right now, depending on the size of a bathroom, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, that's not.
Potentially, but I don't know that. We haven't designed that yet, so I can't give you a straight answer.
Well, we'd have to go back to town meeting to reallocate that money anyway.
Correct, but
So I think it looks good. I originally thought that was going to be set up so it could be used in an emergency as a softball field, but I guess not. But I do think as we go forward, the bathroom issue is we're going to have to address that sooner or later. Not now, obviously, but sooner or later.
thank you.
I think it's kind of disappointing to have such a big, beautiful field complex with no bathrooms.
I'll continue to work through that.
I'm sure you agree. You need a motion. motion.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jeremy, do you want to make the motion?
Yeah, so that's fine. I'd like to make the motion to approve the Marshall Simons field as presented to present to conservation for the notice of intent.
Second.
Any more questions? All right, Ms. Wojcik,
Yes.
Ms. Bond,
Yes.
Ms. Monaco,
Yes.
Mr. Brooks?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, it's 5-0. Thank you, Jeremy and Bob, and
Thank you.
the field subcommittee. Thank you. All right, we have the warrant. I saw it come through. Any questions on that?
I move we approve the warrant as submitted.
Second.
Jeremy, are you staying on the line?
Yeah, I'll stay on for the vote.
Okay, all right. Mr. Brooks?
Aye.
Mr. Wojcik?
Yes.
Ms. Bond?
Yes.
Ms. Monaco?
Yes.
I vote yes, 5-0. We have meeting minutes from September 29th.
I move we approve the meeting minutes of September 29th.
Second.
Questions? Mr. Brooks? Oh, now he's gone. Right, okay. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye, it's 4-0.
I move we approve the meeting minutes of September 30th, 2025.
Second.
Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye, it's 4-0. All right, we have our student report, you're up. Akshara.
We can't wait to hear it.
Hi.
For being patient, by the way.
Of course. Hi, everyone. I'm Akshara. I'm back with the student report. So for the whole school, basically, we've started the prep rally discussions. Prep rally will be taking place on November 26th. And the idea this year is to have like all grades and anyone who wants to help plan prep rally help, because before it used to just be seniors who used to do all the main work, but because everyone's busy with college applications and just doing college stuff, we just thought it'd be easier if everyone takes part. Also, this helps the underclassmen understand what happens in the pep rally. And then for each grade individually, the seniors have been planning homecoming. It will be on November 21st. They've got chaperones, a DJ, a location, which is the school cafeteria always, some games, and then some dance type games figured out. And they've been planning more fundraisers. And then for the juniors, they've still been planning their babysitting night and a t-shirt decorating party, which they hold a few days before the pep rally as a t-shirt wearing party for the pep rally, basically. And then sophomores, they've been planning a Boo Basket fundraiser. This is something new for us. They will be putting out flyers through Parent Square, and they'll be collecting payment through the school store website, and they will deliver the baskets on October 29th. And then the freshmen, they're just trying to plan what their theme for the pep rally is and how they're going to decorate their hallway. We will have our annual hallway decorating contest as well, where each grade decorates their hallway, and we vote who has the best hallway.
Yeah.
You call them boo baskets? Is that what I heard?
Yeah, they're basically baskets that have gifts, and you can send them to a friend or something, and it's boo, you have a basket.
Just thought
I like it.
I misheard, that's all.
Very good?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I thought she said blue.
So how much homework have you got?
A lot of a chem test tomorrow.
All right, go home.
Are you ready?
Hopefully.
Good luck.
You'll be fine.
All right, public participation, 7:18. Do you have anyone online?
No hands.
No? Okay. Yep, go ahead.
subcommittee members. Ted Menka, thank you for having me today. Just want to start by expressing my appreciation for everyone on the committee, all the hard work that everyone does. I wanted to also kind of talk for a little bit about an issue that I've brought up before to the school, and I want to start by reading the strategy in the safety area of the website. We want to let the community know that we are doing everything in our power to make our schools safe. We are writing this to share some of the things that we are doing. And then there's a section below under infrastructure. The Burlington School Department has fortified certain parts of the building using discrete techniques that will keep intruders out. Once inside, slow them down. The schools have electronic key cards to limit access only to those who are authorized to be in certain buildings. This is a great safety improvement as compared to traditional locks and keys. All of the schools keep their exterior doors locked throughout the day, and access to each building is only allowed at certain entry points. And what I'd like to show is just 3 days after the last school committee, this picture was taken, and I've brought this up to the school before. This is an exterior door being propped open with a cone by BPS staff or employees.
Where?
So, you know,
Where?
some of the things, I can bring this up if you'd like.
No, I just want to know where it is.
This is at MSMS.
Thank you.
Welcome. So the last time I was here, I was talking about, you know, the different mandates the school committee has, of which I appreciate there are a lot of them, but safety being number one. You know, and I just did want to reiterate that. And this is something that I've brought up to school administrators before, and it seems like this continuously happens. You know, the way that I see this is all of the money that we put into all of these barriers and all of these policies and procedures, they go out the door as soon as someone props it open. So, you know, I think it sends the wrong message in terms of what the priorities are of the school system when this keeps happening. No, I would like for the school committee to put something on the agenda, preferably tonight, to have a vote, that there really should be a BPS-wide memo mandate stating that doors should not be propped open. It really does reduce the safety of the school. You know, with everything else that we have in terms of the mandate that you have, in terms of being a steward of the tax money as well as academic goals, none of it matters if there's a problem inside the school.
Thank you for your comment.
Welcome.
I'm going to ask Bob a question from that.
Sure.
I know we typically don't comment, but
Sure.
I want to get the specific date, if we could, Bob, and I want to find out, was there any work being done? Was there anybody on the inside of the door where work was being done, that was propped open for a reason? I mean, I thank you, for bringing this to our attention, but I would like additional research done as well.
Was it during the school day?
And,
Again,
So,
so,
We're all set. We're all set.
well, I'm asking Bob. Thank you. I appreciate you wanting to respond, but I'm asking Bob. He's in charge.
Do you know?
yeah.
All right, why don't we let Dr. Conti
Okay,
tell
Eric?
us?
Go ahead, Bob.
I
'Cause we-
don't have enough information to give an answer.
Right.
If you're willing to share, I'd appreciate it. And whether or not I can respond right now or in the future, I would obviously have to.
Again, I actually do, because we looked at the security cameras, and it was after school. It was a middle school teacher that we have followed up. Mr. McMahon has followed up. The teacher was, again, unloading their car, and it was, again, a relatively short period of time, but still unacceptable. So, again, all the principals have sent out a reminder, and I have no problem, Mr. Manka, sending out a district-wide reminder as well. So-
Yeah, and in my opinion, I think there should be, it really shouldn't happen. Someone should get a warning, and then that's it. Everyone should know, it's
Thank you.
one warning.
Thank you. Come on up.
I do not feel safe in the school system. The amount of repeated safety failures that this school system has is just shocking. And before I get into that, I just want to respond to a few comments. While it was after school, it was around 2 p.m., which students were still in the buildings, to my knowledge, and I believe I don't know if extracurriculars were going, but it was very close to the school day. There could have still been students inside. And then also, a relatively short period of time, it was 80 seconds, which is absolutely enough for someone to get in the building and do something bad. It doesn't matter that it was only 80 seconds. That is enough for someone to go in there and do something bad. So I just want to say that is unacceptable no matter what. This isn't a new or isolated problem. This has been going on since I was in elementary school, with doors being propped open and students being sent home in manhunts and no communication being given when students make threats or bring knives into school. The main issue is that there's no communication. Like, there was an incident in MSMS which there was not communicated to parents, where a student brought a knife into school and showed it. There was no communication. There's no communication going on, and that is a major, it's a major flaw in our safety. The consequences right now are inadequate, clearly, because so far, so many teachers, like, it's happened multiple times per year at MSMS. Clearly, teachers are not getting the message, if I do this, there will be problems. So, like, it should be, as Mr. Mike said, one warning. That's it. Then there is immediate and harsh discipline to the teacher who does that. Because not only does it put the safety at risk, it also means that academics and all the other things that school is meant to provide cannot go forward. Also, with the BHS project, I 100% agree. We need a new BHS, but we need people who can take care of that $300+ million responsibly. What I've seen with this committee is nothing close to that. We have committee members posting vile things on Facebook. We have committee members posting mocking comments and just bullying other school committee members during the meetings. If you can't just follow standards, why can you be trusted with $300 million? There needs to be a vote. Thank you. Now.
I'm going to make a comment. I know we don't typically, but the school committee's not in charge of the $300+ million. It's the town administrator and Ways and Means in the town. The school committee does not control the funding. So I'd like to put that fire out.
I'd like to say
Thank you.
something too, and it's important.
Go ahead.
When it comes to students who do things, for instance, bring a knife to school, every single time there is a whole team of educators that look at the situation and figure out if it's serious or not serious. If someone accidentally brought a bag with a butter knife in it from Dunkin' Donuts, or if it was a special education child who maybe didn't understand, like my granddaughter wouldn't understand if she did something like that, every single time it's looked at very carefully. And while you may not feel that that's the case, it is the case. Every time, no, this is not a debate. Every time it is looked at very carefully. And because you made this point at other meetings, I just want to explain, I don't really think there's anyone in this audience that doesn't understand political satire. But just in case, the post that you like to talk about that I made on Facebook has a very strong, important message. And the message of that post is that the safety of our students is the most important thing. It is the most important, and that's what the post says. None of these other things we're talking about will matter if our children are not around. So safety is the most important, and it is our right to respond at subsequent meetings. And since you did bring that up at prior meetings, I think you need to learn about political satire.
Go ahead.
Adrienne Simeone, Mrs. Monaco. So is keeping kids safe from sexual content. So that meme, I didn't even see it on your page because I don't follow you anymore, but the way you compared those two things were terrible. Both of those things are bad.
You're entitled to your opinion.
That's fine. It is my opinion, but it was pretty insulting to myself and a lot of other parents that you seem to downplay the fact that this school allows children to get sexualized and confused in gender identity and all this stuff. But aside from that, because you got me distracted, the open meeting violation that Adam Sinesi brought forth last meeting, I just want to get it into public record because I don't think everybody online understood that the vote for Dr. Conti's contract extension and raise, the past 2 years prior was put on the agenda so that people would know that it had happened. And it wasn't put on the agenda in August. So that was why the meeting violation was filed. And I understand there's like a little bit of a wording thing about, oh, well, then there should be an assumption that there could be a vote. However, in an effort of being transparent, we would appreciate for the school committee to continue to follow that precedent that was set of keeping it on the agenda so we can understand what is going to happen. Because all of us that were in the room, we would have returned to the meeting had we known that something like that was going to happen. So given everything that's happened in the past months, a little more transparency as opposed to less goes a long way. If you want us to trust you, and I have a lot of respect for this role itself. It's not like I disrespect the role, but beyond that, we had Ms. Novojcik post on Facebook saying that apparently those of us who are questioning or have concerns about the Burlington High School project, that we're just doing it out of spite, that we're threatening to torpedo the entire project just to score political points. That's pretty insulting. I'm really kind of disappointed
Taken
that
out of
was
context,
posted.
could be considered
Yeah, it is
insulting.
insulting.
When
It
taken out
is.
of context,
Okay,
yes.
yeah.
Sure.
But I mean, for someone that's supposed to represent parents and citizens, and we have legitimate concerns, I found that to be rather dismissive. But lastly, I'm just going to finish with this because the school did absolutely nothing about all of the kids in the school system witnessing Charlie Kirk get shot in the neck, whereas they did things for George Floyd and for, potential trauma of potentially having a poster ripped off of a wall. I'm going to finish with this Charlie Kirk quote because it's his birthday today. Government works for us. They are not a holy realm of existence that we are not allowed to criticize, that we are not allowed to question.
I have a response. I have to respond.
No more.
Okay. An open meeting violation complaint, someone who claims that we have violated the open meeting law, is just that, a complaint. Since all of this started in April, there have been 2 complaints. However, until the Attorney General agrees that there was a violation, there is no violation. The opinion of the person making the complaint doesn't make any difference. The only thing that matters is what the Attorney General finds. So I think instead of accusing us, maybe we should wait and see what the Attorney General says.
All right. Do we have any additional subcommittee reports?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ways and Means has nothing to report at this time.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to give a brief update. We had our first Wellness Committee meeting recently, led by Dr. Chen and Amy Doherty, and it was a great meeting. We learned a lot about the school store and how that functions, and what's sold there and how it benefits the students in various programs like DECA. We talked about school nutrition, came up with some ideas to make sure that everyone is staying hydrated and healthy, and how we're going to be talking about nutritional content in the food that's presented to students, making sure that students are making protein or offering protein, healthy choices and making sure that students are, understanding what that means. I don't know, Dr. Chen, if there's anything you'd like to add. I thought we had a great attendance, and I know there were some members that were traveling that weren't able to be there, but I'm sure that everyone will make it next time.
Thank you so much. I thought we had great participation, including 2 student representatives. So I think it's a very robust committee filled with many different viewpoints and members. And I thought the discussion was very well attended. People had diverse points of view, but I think everyone felt respected. And as part of our goals, biannually, we had talked about that we need to review and give feedback about the wellness policy. And we'll also be using that particular committee as an advisory committee to talk about the implementation of the new comprehensive physical and health standards. Again, it serves as an advisory committee, but then they're going to make a recommendation to the school committee, and then that's how we proceed forward. But we'll also be adding some nutritional guidelines that are by state law that need to also be fulfilled in the wellness policy. Thank you.
Any other announcements, Dr. Conti?
No, we have the Journey to Cares, so I think that's going to
Okay.
cover all the announcements.
Beautiful. All right, we have the athletic staff support vote.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As you could read from your handout, the last increase for the folks who work the events was COVID, so it was about 4 or 5 years ago. In order for us to stay competitive and have folks continue to show up, Mr. Hart is asking that we increase the funding per game per worker from $70 to $75, and that would be sort of covered by the event itself or from the athletic budget. So he asked for this, and I supported his request, and it keeps us in line with the other Middlesex League schools. So recommend the committee vote to approve the athletic staff support increase to $75 per game.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions on this?
Well deserved.
Agreed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye, 4-0.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Bob's twitching as you touch those mics.
I'm sorry.
He's twitching. Don't touch the microphones.
This is the DESI grant?
I'm happy to talk about it.
Yes.
All right, so the next thing I just wanted to let you guys know about, this was the grant that we had applied for, that we had given you information about. It is for about $60,000. It is with Lighthouse. That is the corporation. It is to help work on the new upcoming standards. Presently, right now, I'm reminded, we are using October 1999 standards when it comes to physical education and health standards. However, as I have pointed out many times, and I will continue to stress this, that we're using the Wellness Committee as an advisory committee to go through this process. And only after we've gone through this process and those standards have been approved by the school committee are we going to begin any curriculum work. So while we have received the grant, we are not moving anywhere further until these processes and all these checkpoints have been put into place. But we didn't want to not apply for it because we want to ensure that we're not that many years behind in our state curriculum. So I just ask for the committee to consider voting for accepting the funds of $60,000, understanding that we are going to wait before getting any professional development. Everything has to go through a process.
So moved.
Second.
Any additional question? Excuse me.
Yeah,
Yes.
just a comment.
Yep.
Did you really think we'd refuse $60,000?
I just wanted to make sure everything was as clear as day as to the process of what is going on, that we are still in 1999 curriculum standards for physical and health and PE.
Well, it's time we brought them up to 2025 standards. Thank you for all your hard work in accomplishing these grants. Last week, it was over 400,000, and now it's 60,000. Thank you, Lisa.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye, 4-0. Medication regulation.
Yes, up before you, this particular committee had asked, since the administration medication policy in its second reading had the Board of Health, what I gave to you, because you asked, it was 18 pages so that you guys could look over it. It is the medication regulations that have also been signed by our nurse leader and approved by our school physician. You just wanted to see that, so I wanted to make sure that you had received that information and had the time to read through it. And it abides by everything that the administration medication policy for students does.
Thank you.
So again, no action was required. It was just something you all wanted to
This
see.
informs the next vote, though, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. And so I am asking the committee for you to consider approving the administration of medicine policy for students, and it is based on our new regulations.
Just through the chair, I felt it was very well marked, and we have all the information I think that we need to make vote the next time around.
This is the second reading.
This is the second reading, and I apologize. It is policy JLCD. I ask the committee to consider voting on it for its second reading and its approval.
I'll make a motion then that we vote on to accept the medication regulations as presented with all the backup that Dr. Chen provided us.
Second.
Any more questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye, also 4-0.
Okay, and the next one, I'm going to go through the MCAS annual report that I usually do in October. And so I'm going to go ahead and move over there.
Oh,
Can we get rid of that poster?
yeah.
I believe so, for the latest one.
Yeah, that one has all the iReady in there.
I'm going to.
I'll take spot.
That one?
Sounded like you want us to wait.
All right if I move it?
Yeah, go ahead. Is there a dumpster?
All right, well, good evening. Hi.
This one, move this.
Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. All right. So you guys have had time to look through this, but I want to do a bit of a review. I'm going to go through it in a bit of greater depth for you. And so thank you, Mr. Kuna. So as you know, the MCAS is one of the assessments that we take a look at. It's one of the points of measure of data. It is not all of the points, but it's one of our points next. So first of all, I want to talk about the difference between what is criterion referenced and what is norm reference testing. Criterion reference is based on state standards, for instance, whereas norm reference is based on where you stand compared to a population of other students. Next. At this point in time, I'd like to play this particular video because one of the things that we're taking a very hard look at, while achievement is important, you can have high achievement and low growth. That's not what we want. We always want high achievement and high growth. You can start off needing more years, which is considered low achievement, but you always want your students to be making high growth. And I thought this 4-minute video does a very nice explanation as to how the DESE, or the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, calculates student growth. And student growth is something that we focus in, not only in our iReady assessments that we give to our students, but also in DIBELS.
And secondary student growth percentile, the SGP, to describe students' performance on MCAS tests. This video will explain how the SGP is calculated for any group of students. For example, a district, a school, a grade, or a classroom. The SGP measures growth by comparing a student's MCAS score from one year to the next. The purpose of the SGP is to determine whether the amount of growth is enough. Here's how the SGP is calculated. Let's look at one school in Massachusetts. Within that school, focus on one class, Joe Schmo's 7th grade math class. Each student in this class has MCAS scores in math from the previous 2 years, grades 5 and 6. These students may have been enrolled in any school in Massachusetts in those 2 previous grades. Let's select one student in the class. This student's grade 5 MCAS math score was 228. The grade 6 score was 230. Now let's look again at all the schools in Massachusetts and find the students who have the same MCAS score history as Joe Schmo's student. These students are test score peers. Note that these are not peers based on any demographic characteristics. Students whose previous test scores are the same may be very different demographically. Each student takes the math MCAS test this year in grade 7 and receives a score. In this example, each score is different. Some go up, some go down, and some stay the same. The students are rank ordered by the amount of improvement in their grade 7 scores compared to the previous 2 years. Joe Schmo's student had the second largest improvement. Each student is assigned a percentile score. The student from Joe Schmo's class is in the 90th percentile. His score this year went up from 230 to 240, improvement that was as good as or better than 90% of his test score peers. The percentile score becomes each student's SGP score. Note that students whose scores went down also have a growth score. The student whose score went down by 4 points has an SGP of 20. This means that the scores of 20% of the students in this test score cohort declined as much or more than did this student's score. Returning to Joe Schmo's class, each student now has an SGP based on how well each did compared to the students in the corresponding statewide test score cohort. The students in the class are ranked according to their SGP score. Students with very different scores can have the same SGP. The student we have followed has an SGP of 90. Another student also has an SGP of 90, but that student's score did not change this year, and the score is much lower, 214 compared to 240. But within that student's statewide peer group, only 10% of the students had higher scores this year. To determine the SGP for Joe's class, or for school, grade, or district, identify the middle student in the group. In this example, that student has an SGP of 40. That student's score, the median for the class, becomes the classroom SGP.
All right. Thank you. I just wanted to have you have that in mind because I'm going to talk a little bit about student growth. The other assessments that we use, because it's not just MCAS that we look at district-wide, is for English and math is in grades 1 through 9 is iReady. That is both criterion referenced and normative, diagnostic. K through 6 DIBELS, we have started to dibble our students in grade 6 now. It is a universal screener and also used for progress monitoring. And in math, we have K through 9, the iReady math, which is both criterion reference, and that is a normative diagnostic. Next, please. So these are the type of assessments when we look at MCAS so that you can see it in a bigger bucket, is that we have screeners. They identify the probability of reading risk at beginning of the year, middle of the year, end of the year, and we use DIBELS 8 and iReady for that. We also do some progress monitoring to determine whether students are learning the skills taught and are meeting at benchmark using DIBELS 8 versus that of the summative assessment, in which I'm going to talk a little bit more with you guys, which is the evaluation of students' learning and mastery of specific skills at the end of the year, such as the MCAS. All right, next, please. So as part of the DIBELS 8, next, there are different subtests that are given in different grades depending on when the skills are developing and for instruction. It shifts when students are developing these specific skills and how automatic are their foundational reading skills. And automaticity is very important. When we are automatic with our foundational skills, it leaves us cognitively capable to have the capacity to understand what we're reading. And DIBELS are administered by the teacher and or reading specialist, and we also use them to progress monitor students' response to intervention during WIN. And as you can see, again, we expanded into grade 6, not only the oral reading fluency, but also the MAZE, which is a silent assessment to test a student's reading comprehension as well, too. All right, next. Here, this is iReady next, and in iReady, that is computer adaptive. We test 1st through 2nd grade and 3rd through 8th grade. Now, note that these are receptive skills. Students hear the sounds, words to identify on the screen. Students do not read the sounds or words out loud. 1st grade is only comprehension, as in listening comprehension, whereas as in 2nd grade, students silently read and answer comprehensive questions. Now, one of the changes that we made starting last year is that all of our students, even in our students in our sub-separate programs in the DSC programs, unless they are not able to receive DIBELS, and they also receive iReady as well too, because it's just really important for us to see where all of our students are. Next, I'm going to talk to you about our demographics. As you can see, these are our students. I've broken it down with who our special education students, who our students are on 504s, and who our wonderful L students are, and our low incomes. Those are the numbers. Next, please. Those are our demographics, as I've shared with you. Again, the middle school demographics when it comes to our special education students, those on our 504, our L students, and also those of low income and different racial groups. And then in the next slide, I also break it down with high school so you know who is being assessed. Again, the breakdown of our low-income students, our special education students, 504 students, and our L students, of 226 students. Next, we're going to talk about our English language arts performance. Now, again, this is one point in time, and this is summative. This is a summative assessment. So as you can take a look, these are how we've been doing grades 3 through 5 for English students' performance by year. There you have two particular graphs. We take a look at the percentage of students who are meeting and exceeding. We are still above the state. And when it comes to our average student growth percentile, where we rank when it comes to, it follows a very straight line with that of the state, but you have a comparison there of what our average student growth percentile is and what is the state. So you can get two different pictures of what's been going on. Now, this is prior to us, if you know, receiving our new CKLA curriculum. So this is what happened last year. All right, next, this shows the breakdown of our students over time for grades 3, grade 4, and grade 5. And I think this speaks to why it's really important to have a very solid Tier 1 instruction, because you always want to be moving upward, even if it's a summative assessment. So it was a good time for us to take a look at a solid, robust, content-rich curriculum that has a lot of vocabulary and writing embedded. Next, please. This is grade 3 in English compared to that of the state average. About 58% of the students were in meets and exceeding, and then whereas 42% of the state. And as you can see, we still are in grade 3 English above when it comes to that of the state percentage. Next, with grade 4, you're seeing a little bit of a dip here, but know that our grade 4 students, this is a tough bunch. This is the bunch in which our students were impacted by COVID. Again, as you can see, the writing is not where we need it to be, so hence we needed to look for a curriculum in which there is a very strong writing background. Next, please. And as you can see, this is the breakdown when it comes to grade 5. Again, we're going to be focusing more on the essay and writing in particular, and we're starting to do a lot more writing. I've seen that already with some of the units in CKLA. Next, please. This is our performance when it comes to that of our grade 6 through 8 over time and over year. We are above the state when it comes to the student growth percentile. This is what it looks next when it's broken down in grade 6, 7, and 8. And then the next one is where we stand when we are compared to that of the state. This year we had dipped a little bit in 2024 when it came to our average student growth percentile. This year we made a bit of progress above the state. Our SGP was about 54, and that of the state was about 50. And I know that there's been a lot of landmark professional development being put into the middle school, particularly taking a look at writing. That's one of the focus areas that we have put in. Again, next, this is grade 7, and this is our comparisons where we are in reading, language, essay, and writing, and where we are making some growth when it comes to our student growth percentile, and both also in our meets and exceeding when it comes to grade 7 English. Next, grade 8. Again, we are exceeding that of the state average, but we're going to want to still continue to take a look at how do we continue to improve our student growth percentile. And then we had some difficulty, as you remember, last year, and I know that Shannon Janovitz and Judy Crothman has worked really hard to take a look at the curriculum, and I think that they have made a jump. They're starting to head in the right direction. I know they really took a hard look at their curriculum and when things had needed to be sequenced, and as you can see, this year in 2025, they increased in the number of students who were in meets, percentile, and also exceeding. And we are slowly making our way up when it comes to the student growth percentile. All right. And then also next, no, you're perfect. Sorry about that, Bob. This is a nice breakdown of where we are. The state is about 61%. We are about 65%. The state is about 52% in writing, and we are about 58% when it comes to that of writing. This is the percent correct compared to the state average. Now, one of the things that I wanted to take some time to talk to you guys about, because you're not going to see this immediately, but you will start seeing this over time. And you know that when you have a very reading, and Dr. Eric Conti actually brought this to us about 19 years ago. He infused us with Scarborough's rope, right? And there's two sections when it comes to Scarborough's rope. You need to have the automaticity, which is the letter recognition, the word skills, and the phonics. And then you also need to have the robust content knowledge, which is the deep, rich content knowledge, which we're getting with Tier 1 through CKLA. But what I want to celebrate is that as we are making movements in CKLA, I really want to celebrate the hard work of what our teachers did last year when we embraced and received all of DIBELS 8 training. If you look at this, at the end of 2025, we were about 76% of our students reading at or above grade level. Our goal is always to get 80% of students at or above grade level. So we were able to do this last year. And so this just shows you a comparison of where we're beginning this year at a big composite score and where we ended up last year. So I would say that the progress monitoring, the evidence-based strategies that we put into interventions that are being led by the teachers and the reading specialists have been working. And we wish to continue to move upward in that trend. The next is that this is another powerful assessment when it comes to DIBELS 8. This is known as oral reading fluency. And this is about where we stand at the beginning of the year, and we hope only to continue and grow. And as you can see, at the beginning of the year, we're at a much different place than we were last year. And I will want to say that the teachers really worked a lot hard with our kindergarten students last year and speeding up some of the pacing. And I would like to say, as we dig down deeper, to take a look at how our first graders are doing this year. All right. Excuse me. And then next, this is also another thing that we take a look at, which is our iReady scores. And we like to have a baseline score of where we are in 2025 and 2026, where we are also at the end of the year, but where we are at the beginning of the year and where we need to go. Next, please. This is where we are when it comes to our middle school data, and we will be finalizing our DIBELS 8 data and taking a look at that as well, too. But really take a look at where we were again at the beginning of the year and where we ended up at the end of the year, but where we're starting off. That happens just to be our baseline of where we wish to go. Next, I'm going to be talking about the math performance. And in math performance, this is an area that we're continuing to look at, and I think that a lot of the pathways, we've made some really good work when it comes to that of the pathways. In grades 3 through 5, this is the performance. One of the things that we need to continue to look at is we need to make sure that we're continuing to look at our student growth percentile as opposed to just leveling, and I know that this is something that Carrie Fortunato and our math specialists are looking into to see how do we continue to rise in our trend. Next shows us where we are when it comes to grade 3, grade 4, and grade 5. Next is the breakdown of where we are when we compare our grade 3 math, the average percent correct by category. We are exceeding that of the state. We are, when it comes to meets and exceeding, at 62% in 2025 versus that of the state of 44%. Next, please, in grade 4, I've talked to the elementary principals. This is a very hard cohort. They were impacted by COVID, but we're continuing to work with these group of students. As you can see, the state also dipped as well too, but one of the things that we're going to continue to pay attention to, again, is not only our achievement of our meets and exceeds, but also our average student growth percentile. And in grade 5, we're starting to rise above in our student growth percentile. We are still above when it comes to the percent correct by category in math, but we're starting to kind of like even out when it comes to our meets and exceeding, but this is something we're going to be continuing to work on when we take a look at our Tier 1 curriculum. And then this is the performance of our 6 through 8 math overall. And again, we exceed the state when it comes to meets and exceeding, but one of the areas that we will always continue to look at is our average student growth percentile. This is the breakdown when it comes to grade 6, grade 7, and grade 8 math. And this is where we are when we are comparing ourselves to that of the state average. One place that we dipped was in statistics and probability, and I'll be working with Tim McMahon and also his curriculum coordinators on dissecting the data and going deeper into the data. In statistics and probability, the state was about 49% correct, and we were at 47% correct, so that's an area that we will need to dig in a little bit deeper in. In grade 7 math, as compared to the state average, we actually had a trend that went up. So kudos to our hardworking math teachers, especially in grade 7. I know that they worked extremely hard in looking at their curriculum, and that also had to do with the hard work of our grade 6 teachers as well, too. But our percentage of meet and exceeds was at 57% versus that of the state of 39%. And then also at the same time, we are above the state when it comes to the average growth percentile. And when it comes to grade 8, we have also are above the state when it comes to average percent correct by category. And we're going to continue to look at our student growth percentile. And then next, when we take a look at our grade 10 students, one of the things that we've talked about, and I've spoken to Katie Whitcomb about this, I really do think that the work that we've done to ensure that all grade 8 standards and all Algebra 1 standards are being taught in the middle school is really going to change the trajectory of what's going to happen starting, I think, in grade 10, because as we start digging deeper into the data, even though, next please, we have surpassed the state when it comes to the average percentage correct by category. What we found is that even in statistics and probability and number and quantity, a lot of these questions referred back to algebra and functions and geometry. But now with the new pathway that we put in which Algebra 1 is also going to eventually be its own course in fall of 2026, year of 2027 to spring, and in which we've taken a hard look at the middle school curriculum when it comes to math, I really think that this is only going to help move students along in grade 10 math. Now, next, I'm going to be talking about the science performance. Now, one of the things that I do want to talk to you about the science, and I really, next please, I really wanted to give it to Sean Musselman and also Wendy Pavlicek, is that they continue with the time they're given to write a lot of curriculum that is performance task, that it's problem-based learning. These are the type of assessments that we will be receiving in spring of 2027. And as you can see, these are our students. We are above the state when it comes to our students meeting 52% in meets and exceeding expectations. And then again, as you can see, when we break down in category, we are still above the state. Now, I will tell you one thing that, again, that Sean Musselman and also Wendy Pavlicek continue to do that's extremely important. When we looked into adopting CKLA, we knew that one of the things that of spring 2027, that this assessment that grade 5 and grade 8 students were going to receive is a new performance task-based assessment. It is going to include a lot of vocabulary, and it is going to include a lot of reading. And so if students are not sound in reading analytical text and answering text, a lot of it is solving problems, then they're not going to do well. And so he has worked really hard, as well as Wendy, to really put in, along with the science and social studies, to embed it into CKLA, especially in kindergarten through 3rd grade. Next, please, this is our grade 8 assessment of how we're doing. We use Open SciEd there as well, too. And again, you can see that we are above, next please, the state average. And then in grade 10, this is an area that I'm going to be working with Holly Potters on, and also with Shannon Janovitz, just to dissect why over time our meets and exceeding performance are they going down. And one of the things, now this is one of the things that was a little and we talked about this, and have begun having conversations with Shannon Janovitz on this. When I see something like this has to do with the curriculum, and so you'll see us talk about next steps of what we're going to be doing with the curriculum. We are not where we need to be when it comes to even close to the state average. So for me, again, what this says to me is that we need to take a hard look at the standards that are being taught in the particular curriculum and what is the time frame of when things are being taught, and to look at the vertical alignment of what's going on between 8th grade and 9th grade. Next, please. Civics performance was a performance that was given last year for the first time. Next, please. And this is where our students stand. We are above the state average, as you can see. And then I want to talk to you about next steps, because part of this, even though MCAS is a summative assessments, we've really started to take a look at this really hard as 3 multiple points of data. We have been reviewing the data with the district instructional team, the school level base teams, and I'll be meeting with the principals and their teams one-on-one. We're beginning to compare our Access and MCAS data to identify English learner students not meeting both the growth targets on both assessments to provide additional supports. I've been in data meetings with at least 3 out of the 4 schools in which we have identified the Tier 2 and Tier 3 supports for both reading and math. We're continuing to enhance science standards and CKLA in a math K through 3 and identify the key standards in grades 4 and 5. And I want to give it to Dr. Bonnie Nichols and also all the members of the implementation team and all of the elementary teachers. They are working so hard at full speed to implement the Tier 1 instruction for CKLA for all students. Again, I want to reiterate my thanks to our teachers who saw the need for this, and they are working so hard, because to do 4 schools and 6th grade levels all at one time is not easy to do, but they are working very diligent and they're doing things with fidelity. We're continuing to use evidence-based Tier 2 and Tier 3 reading and math instruction as we have seen growth when it comes to our DIBELS monitoring. Our program teachers are being trained in Orton Gillingham again, and we are going to be working with Landmark again when it comes to professional development, focusing on writing and landmark strategies within CKLA with our 5th grade teachers, and continuing that work in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade at the middle school. When it comes to next steps at Marshall Simons Middle School, we're going to be analyzing the data with the administrative team and program coordinators. I want to thank Tim McMahon and his administrative team. I'm going to be meeting with the program coordinators this Thursday, and we're going to be talking about next steps. We're going to continue to update our curriculum maps. We're focusing on effective Tier 1 instruction, and we're going to start identifying what are the relevant supports for Tier 2 and Tier 3 instruction for students, particularly in reading and in math at the middle school. We have known that Open SciEd works and works very well, and so we're going to take a look at ensuring greater integrity with this, and we're going to be working with the high school teachers to review key standards vertically in science, and we're going to continue to monitor the progress. So it was really a game changer, I want to say to you guys, because it was all hands on deck when we were dibbling our grade 6 students, and that was another wonderful piece of data. When it comes to Burlington High School, we're going to continue to do curriculum map updates. We're working on a grading policy that is more growth-oriented, that gives greater ownership for students when it comes to learning by providing more feedback. We're continuing to get more PD on UBD, also an effective Tier 1 instruction with a what, why, and how of what surface, deep, and transfer learning means. And we're working on redefining existing Tier 2 structures and ensuring that we have robust Tier 2 structures beginning at the high school and designing new academic interventions at the high school. And if we're to break it down, we've already begun these conversations. This is what it's going to be looking like in English. We've already embedded an AP seminar and research and argument units in grade 10 in English curriculum that has seemed to help from making the jump of where we did last year. We've resequenced things. We're going to continue to increase cross-general comparative analysis, both in English and in history. We're also going to be working with counselors and families to promote enrollment and writing-focused courses that builds on student skills. And in math, we're going to continue to look at performance data, continue to work on strong Tier 1 instruction, and to look at what are the support areas of the tiered interventions that we need to deliver. And then in science, we're going to be working again on understanding by design, looking at the conceptual understanding, breaking down why in biology we're not meeting where we need to be, and also taking a look at some digital interfaces on the MCAS platform, and really engaging on a crosswalk between the grade 8 and grade 9 data between life sciences and biology instruction, and targeting these focused areas. So that is our plan of action. I know that I went through this a little bit quickly, but I wanted to give you an overview that we're not just focused on MCAS alone. We're using that as a piece of data along with our iReady data and along with our DIBELS data, because we have found that you have to use all three. You know, it's not just looking at one piece, but it's also focusing on student growth percentile and making sure that every student continues to grow. Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Monaco.
I thought it was a great presentation, and it's nice to have you working so hard on all of the curriculum in order to make improvements like we're seeing in a lot of these growth scores. The one thing that stood out to me that made me have a couple of questions is the grade 10 biology.
Yep.
But what I'm wondering is, what are the students taking in grade 9? Are they still taking that physical science class?
The way that assessment works, and this is why we want to do a deeper dive, I was trying to figure this out myself too. The way this works is when students they can take the grade 9 biology assessment in grade 9, but their scores don't show up until grade 10. Their scores don't show up in grade 10. So I was wondering, could that be like some discrepancies? But I really need to dig deeper. And go ahead, Dr. Conti, thank you.
Mrs. Monaco, the majority of kids take biology now freshman year, so that's what they did. Prior to last year, they would need a passing score on a science test in order to get a high school diploma.
Right.
So biology gave them 2 or 3 chances for the students who needed 2 or 3 chances because they could take it sophomore year or junior year. The state stopped supporting the chemistry MCAS because too few students were
able to pass it.
We're taking it. Now, we know that Akshara would pass it because she's studying for chemistry this evening, so she would do that. But, and again, always want our scores to be higher. So I'm going to say that again, always want our scores to be higher. But last year was the first year that students knew their participation on MCAS was important, but not their performance on MCAS was important. So,
they didn't have to pass.
so most of my colleagues that I spoke to saw a dip in 10th grade sort of overall achievement. You're going to be having conversations about the competency determination later on with Mark and Joe and Lisa, and then whether you want to, again, require the MCAS participation for a diploma, but we will not be able to require a certain level of performance because of the change in the state requirement. So I think we have to align curriculum, which is kind of what Lisa's saying. I think the vast majority of our kids are taking biology in 9th grade just because of how it was set up before, and they've made that transition. And I think these are the same kids who are performing well on math and literacy. I think once we align the curriculum, you'll see that change if they decide to take that assessment seriously.
I wanted to make a couple of points from observing my own students, grandchildren.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of them, and I can sort of see what happens with them. I think the kids that are leaning towards science,
Okay.
are more likely to take AP biology.
Okay.
And I think a lot of the students who do that are doing very well. Are those students counted in this grade 10 student category? The AP bio kids? Or is this a regular bio?
This is regular biology.
Yeah. So I think what's happening is the kids that are really interested in it and apt to do well are taking AP bio. And the only suggestion I would make as an attempt to change the outcome of these particular scores
Yep.
is to look at the curriculum and
Yep.
emphasize the things they're not doing well in.
That's right.
But I think you've probably got a cohort of students in there that haven't made it a priority to them. And I'm not sure about any of this. It's just what comes to my mind, like, of all of mine that have gone through, they've all taken AP bio. Nobody's taken ordinary bio.
And to your point, I think, and to Dr. Conti's point, and I know that Shannon Janovitz has been having conversations with Holly Potters about this, that when you see scores like that, it's about the alignment and what's going on with the curriculum. It is. And so
Exactly.
we need to take a hard look at where things are being sequenced. I want to take a look at the transition between life sciences and biology. What does that transition look like from grade 8 to grade 9? And then I think only when we start digging deeper, we can see maybe like it could be that certain things are taught out of sequence. And so I want to dig deeper and then have a bit of a solution and report back to you.
Good challenge for you, huh? Just what you need is a challenge.
Are there any other questions that folks might have? Yes, ma'am.
You're the chair, and thank you for the presentation. I thought it was very thorough and enlightening. I had a question about the participation rates, given that students didn't have to pass the MCAS. What were our rates?
Our rates are very high. They're at least in the 95 percentile, if not higher.
Okay, good. I'm glad that students and families knew it was important to show up for the exam. And I just want to highlight that we've made a lot of great changes this year in math, in our math program, and by adopting CKLA. And I think over the years, we'll see the long-term benefits of that come through in our MCAS scores. So I'm really pleased with the changes we've made this year, and I'm looking forward to seeing those changes reflected in the summative assessments. I think we see it in DIBELS and iReady and some of the other things that that we're tracking students' growth more often. I think that data is way more valuable than MCAS data, though I know a lot of people really do like MCAS scores and put a lot of weight into that. I think it's just very important to know that our students are growing and that we're keeping track of that growth year-round. Thank you again.
Yes, ma'am. And then to your point also, Dr. Bonnie Nichols is working with Tim McMahon to also take a look at two high-quality curriculums with their English teachers in 6, 7, and 8, because we gave them an extra year, and that's what they're going to be working on this year as well, too. So I'm really hoping to see a very nice transition when it comes to reading from K through 8.
And also through the chair, I like that you talked about the grading policy at BHS. I heard from just one family that they felt like back to school night, the grading policy at BHS was weighted very heavily on test scores and not that participation and homework and
learning process.
Yeah, the learning process. Yes, well put. So I'm glad that we're taking a look at that too. Thank you.
No, thank you. It's been, and a lot of that has to do with the department chairs up at the high school, Mark Sullivan, and also Shannon Janovitz. They deserve all the credit. Shannon has done an excellent job at the high school.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and Mr. Wojcik, to your point, with the competency determination changing, classroom grades are going to take on be the new standard moving forward, because there's not going to be a standardized assessment in Massachusetts to do that. I also wanted to maybe talk a bit from 10,000 feet, and Lisa's been working really hard on this, and really appreciate her efforts. What did Mark Twain say? There's statisticians and liars, or some version of that, or some. I think it's important that we use the data that we have for the purpose that it is derived. And oftentimes there are narratives created with data that, again, they're wonderful narratives, but they don't necessarily align with the purpose. So standard growth, or SGP, really honestly makes most sense looking at it from an individual student perspective, not from a large sample, because in a large sample, the SGP standardizes over time because of the process that you saw. So Bob, if you go back to a couple slides where we have the graphs, you can see that the state SGP on most grades will standardize roughly around 50% because they're looking at a large pool of kids. That's 10. Keep going back and I'll show you one. So, okay, so that's
Grade 5.
That's grade 5. Go back another.
That one's not going
No,
to have
science,
growth.
go back to math or English. So you can see the state number sort of flattens out. And if you go back now, keep going, Bob, 8 flattens out. 7 flattens out. So you can see when you have a large sample size, the standard growth percentile sort of flattens out. So it's not a good tool to look at for large sample sizes because it eventually evens out because you're getting kids on both sides of the spectrum. Okay, long-winded explanation for individuals, and Lisa, help me again remember this. I think when the state looks at the band between a 25% SGP and a 60 or 65% growth, they're saying that student has made a year's worth of progress in that period of time. So when we're looking at it, again, it's hard for us to look at a group of kids because, again, they even out over time. But when we look at individual students, we want to see their overall achievement, but we also want to make sure that they're growing at least a year and a year's worth of time.
40 to 60. 40 to 60.
Sort of that range that we're looking at. So if there's a parent, that might be something to look at, is in that 40 to 60 standard growth percentile. It really doesn't matter if we're, again, above the state SGP is going to be at 50% because it's going to level out over time as you see there. So we want even our high achieving students, or students who might be getting top scores on MCAS, to also be growing. And so that's sort of the important connection that Lisa was making, is we want to see high achievement as measured by the assessment itself, but also high growth, because sometimes our students who are achieving at a high level don't necessarily pay too much attention to the state assessment moving forward. So we can do that. I think the big trend, we are still seeing crawling out of the COVID impact, and I think we're seeing that in the data, but as the kids spend more time in Burlington, they are growing and their achievement scores are going up. And I do think, like anything else in any sort of business where you all work, if you change a fundamental part of it, like a literacy curriculum that is comprehensive, initially you'll see a bit of a performance dip before you'll see, as people learn the skills, then you'll see the performance come up. And we're sort of in that time now where people are spending a tremendous amount of time and working really hard. And again, I think Dr. Chen is right to praise all of their efforts. It is really like learning, they're all wonderful educators, but learning new language, learning new pacing, learning new content, and developing the lessons are taking a lot of time. I've heard a few say, it feels like my first year, again, sort of learning that, and that's a comment to how much effort they're putting into planning and moving forward. So again, I think we'll see that. And the last point I want to make, because I know we want to move on, is Dr. Chen mentioned it quickly. The science MCAS is completely changing in 2027. It's going from sort of a vocabulary test to more of a performance-based assessment. We feel that our curriculum is much better aligned to the performance piece. And so we feel like the work, Sean and Wendy, do in terms of bringing all the activities to the kids will serve them much better when the assessment changes. So we don't want to do vocabulary memorization or test prep. We want them to actually experiment, and the new MCAS is going to be a much more experiential assessment. So I think look for that. I think we'll be much better aligned in 2027 when the assessment changes. I think it'll be a much better assessment. And we'll give you more information on that as we have moving forward. So we have lots of data to go through.
So, may I move on to the Journey to CARES?
Yes, please.
All right. So before we begin the Journey to CARES, and you can find more information on the website for the entire presentation, I just want to highlight the amazing work that our PS teams are accomplishing this month of business and finance. They participated in multiple implementation meetings of absence and substitute management modules. With the digital learning, computer science, library, information technology teams, they serviced over 1,200 support tickets, and the digital learning coaches have been supporting CKLA technology integration. K through 8 has been working on DIBEL's beginning of the year assessments. Really a big thank you to Kevin McDonough and the MSMS leadership team for making this a successful launch. And just wanted to let you know that we have 40 teachers, K through 12, enrolled in letters training, and that's going extremely well. They're special education teachers, they're L teachers, they're high school teachers, and really want to thank Dr. Bonnie Nichols for organizing that, but that is really helping. It's going to be helping our reading instruction. Human resources team completed over 200 queries for parent volunteers. Math K through 5 team, they're working on integrating science into math, the rollout for grade 1 and 2. Nursing team is planning a schedule for each building to administer hearing and vision. Operations team have been doing a lot of work to the Pine Glen boiler. HVAC, and the new scoreboard was installed at the varsity field. Special education team has been doing a focused review on the Connections classroom in Burlington High School. And now for the slides. In slide 1.
Dr. Shen, do we need to say a special thank you to Mr. David Schimmel for the scoreboard, Bob? Was he involved in that?
Excuse me.
He was involved in that.
So, again, I know, Dr. Chen, you'd want to give Mr. Schimmel a special thank you.
Yes, I know. David Schimmel is really wonderful. Yes, he is. So thank you, David Schimmel, for all your help and the scoreboard. All right, in slide 1, just so that you know, we attended the district-wide school safety meeting with the BPS police. Thank you to Chrissy Concession, Mark Sullivan, Deb Clark, and Lauren D'Angelo for setting up this meeting. You can see Dr. Brittany Sterrett from American Institutes of Research providing a whole bunch of PD on the MTSS structures and interventions to administrators and teachers. We have 2 large task forces this year of administrators and teachers K through 12 looking at the MTSS structures for behavior and attendance and also academics. And then also there are a series of elementary open houses that were very well attended. Next slide, please. There is the open house in which we have our new assistant principal, Daryl Braggs, and Dr. Eric Conti attending memorial. Next slide, please. Slide 3. Carrie Noak presenting her menus to the advanced adult ESL classes. We have the UBD task force organized, occurring with Dr. Kateri Thunder. We're looking at the alignment of math and ensuring that we're providing exemplar Tier 1 curriculum units. I'm attending an IDEAS board meeting this morning. There are pictures of reading specialists hard at work. And also, I have attended, along with my instructional team at the district level, a series of data meetings. They're very impressive at the elementary schools. They work student by student in identifying appropriate interventions by analyzing the data such as iReady, MCAS, and DIBELS 8, and that was occurring all last week. In the next slide, slide 4, again, you see both the principal and the assistant principal there looking at students and going over students. That's at Fox Hill Data Meeting, and there we have BHS students presented at the Massachusetts STEM Advisory Council, which included Lieutenant Governor, Secretary of Education Patrick Tutwiler, and the Commissioner of Elementary and Secondary Education, Massachusetts, Pedro Martinez of Education. And thank you, Dr. Conti, and also Shireen Tyrell for hosting this and organizing this. And the next slide, in slide 5, one of the students were quoted as saying, "Originally, I didn't see AI much beyond language models like ChatGPT and Copilot. However, after the program, I gained knowledge on how artificial intelligence can be developed to be helpful for everyday people as well." And again, another student said, "I think it's very important for students our age to learn about AI. Now, as AI is a very fast developing field, which is projected to dominate future careers. Along with this, I just wanted you to know that we've received preliminary funding for the Innovation Career Pathway in Business. Shireen Tyrell submitted a Part A grant application for early college in partnership with Middlesex Community College. This proposed program will provide on-campus experience for all students who participate with free tuition, access to the Middlesex Community College support services, and additional support time to ensure that more students can access and succeed in college-level classes. And we also worked on creating a CTE pathway at BHS in networking and IT, biotechnology, childcare, and engineering technology. And later on, I'll talk to you more about how we finalize the MyCap for the middle school to high school, which is a plan to structured approach to ensure all students are developing their career and academic plans starting at the middle school. And then in the next slide, slide 6, thank you to Carrie Lamprey, the Director of English Learner Education. These are the advanced adult ESOL classes. BPS parents received a visit from Carrie Noak, the Director of Food Services, to learn more about our food program, connect language related to quantifiers and articles, and tasted their children's school lunch items, and celebrated the addition of Guatemalan flag at BHS on Guatemalan Independence Day. And then a quick news flash. I put in a request for BHS to try, because it was very popular in Louisa, breakfast pizza, and tomorrow they are showcasing breakfast pizza at the high school. It should be really delicious. It's like pizza, but it's for breakfast. All right, next, in slide 8, Gloria Watesic, Director of Family and Community Engagement, representing BPS on the Leahy Hospital Medical Center Community Benefits Advisory Committee, supporting our community-led efforts to improve success to healthcare. And there's the BHS team, Supported People Helping People fundraiser. Next slide, please. This is a mental health team with Chrissy Concession, the Director of Mental Health, who attended the Miles for Mental Health 5K walk and provided resources available to families and students. And she also sent the first K through 8 counseling department newsletter via Parent Square. In the next slide, slide 10, again, our Science and Social Studies K through 5 team with Sean Musselman and Wendy Palvacek continue to implement, design, and evaluate science and social studies lessons in support of K through 5. A CKLA literacy program, for example, Grade 2 Earth focuses demonstrated related to the Tall Tales unit, and Grade 5 has VR headset tours on the Mesoamerican heritage sites aligned with the Early Americas CKLA unit and Colonial Era Social Studies unit. And there you have wonderful pictures of 4th graders doing a plant dissection for animal and plant structures and function units. And congratulations, thank you, Sean Musselman, for securing a grant to cover $2,700 in costs for the first LEGO League Explore program to be facilitated between January and March 2026. And this is very exciting. Again, this is for our elementary students to participate in the first LEGO League Explore program. Very exciting stuff. On the next slide, slide 11, want to thank the Student Information Office team who began preparing October 1st data for submission for DESE and worked with Aspen Consultant and L-Team to publish the program placement letters and Aspen. And finally, I want to say again, this was huge for our students in our final slide to be highlighted at the Massachusetts STEM Advisory Council, which included again Lieutenant Governor, the Secretary of Education, Patrick Tutwiler, and the Commissioner of elementary and secondary education, Pedro Martinez of education, and want to give a thank you again to Shereen Tyrell, the Director of Career Pathways, and to Dr. Eric Conti for his vision and STEM education. And again, a final big shout out to David Schimmel for, again, his wonderful board that he put up in the field. He really helps put a lot of light in my office. No, he didn't. He came with a little headset and said that was my light. That was not nice. All right, but that is it when it comes to the Journey to Cares. Lots of really exciting stuff going on.
One other just addition to that, which happened very recently, and it'll probably be on the next Journey to Cares for more detail, but you all know we have a Cambridge Street Closet here at the high school for families in need, and Gloria worked with Tim McMahon and the middle school and Dr. Chen, and helps us and created a Wynn Street Closet at the middle school. So you'll get some details regarding the Wynn Street Closet moving forward. There should be a press release coming out soon.
A question about that. Are they the same thing, just in two different places, or are they geared for the age group? Does anybody even know?
It's geared more towards the age group, and the way they've set it up, it's quite beautiful. It looks actually like a boutique. You go in, it really looks like.
But are the clothing
Yes.
items, are they
Yes.
more for middle school
More for
kids?
middle school kids.
So if you wanted, I think we should also comment that if people have, new or gently used,
Coats, jackets,
right, items for
boots.
kids, they should, and are they all coming up here still to the central office, no matter which closet they go to?
That I can find out. But I usually, what ends up happening that I have seen is Rosemary gets a whole bunch of stuff.
Right.
And then she keeps it where she is, and then all of a sudden I see her going somewhere with it. And I think the somewhere with it is sometimes she goes to one closet, and other times I see her going over to the middle school.
Okay, it's
I'll find out.
It's really a special thing. I'm very proud of the school district and the individuals who work on it for providing this. It's really nice for those who have any needs whatsoever. And they take other items too, like it isn't just clothing. I mean, there's shoes and there's
Toothbrushes.
personal needs.
Mouthwash, everything like that. Shampoo, like stuff under the sun.
Yes,
Good
things
stuff.
that kids need,
That's right.
good products. That's great. Anyone who's involved, I hope they get a lot of congratulations from you guys.
Thank you, Gloria Witesek. She did an outstanding job in
Thank
putting
you,
that
Gloria.
together.
Thank you.
All right, so what's next on the agenda, and I just wanted to share it with you guys, is that every year, it's called the School Profile 2025-2026. You have it in your packet. It's what Joe Adubato puts out. He puts that out. That's going to be on the high school website. It just shows where our students have graduated, the AP courses that we offer, what our SAT averages. And so that's something that he continues to have on his, on the Burlington High School. So I just wanted to share that with you.
Thank you.
All right, and then the next thing that I wanted to share with you next is this actually, and a lot of the assistant superintendents actually got together and putting together what our model policy looks like. It's very similar to other districts, but what this is that our new state regulations required sending districts such as us, like because we go to Shawsheen, to really start looking and exploring a middle school pathway exploration policy that kind of documents how middle school students are made aware, gain experience to career technical schools, and how we are using and exposing them to that, like how we're using MyCap. So I said that in the Journey to Cares. So we've started that conversation of bringing Joe Adubato, Shannon Janovitz, and also Tim McMahon, myself, and Shereen Tyrell to make sure that the MyCap that we're starting to explore, that we're going to be putting together, that has also the profile of graduate, also starts in the middle school. So those conversations have begun. I think that it's really great anytime students in 6, 7, and 8 get more exposure of what's going on when it comes to CTE offerings. And so this policy that is before you is something that by state law and new regulation that all schools who are sending districts of CTE schools, which is us, we have to put together. And then after the first reading, it's going through, hopefully pass to a second reading, and then of which time then it needs to be submitted into CHAMP no later than November 1st with an affidavit that is signed that it's been accepted, and that is both posted on the website.
So again, you'll see this at your next meeting for a second reading. This is a new state requirement that we're putting together. And we should probably do a presentation with a little bit more detail, so I'll add it to the agenda on the 28th as well. The admissions process has changed for our vocational technical schools this coming year. So it has gone from an application process to a lottery. And so Shawsheen can choose, I think, a few guiding factors in that lottery, and so I think how we communicate those to families will be important. And I know that Shawsheen has chosen attendance, and they can look back, I think, 270 days. So that's going to be starting in 7th and 8th grade. And I do believe discipline is also a part of that, but there's no longer going to be interviews. I think the state has good intentions, and we'll see what the results of their good intentions are by implementing a lottery. But I think we should maybe just to have the conversation publicly about what that process will be, because it is going to be very different from how it has been in the past.
And then there's certain things in the policy that we have to do, like the state will set it like in early October that we need to offer opportunity for middle schools to receive 7th and 8th graders during assemblies. One of the things that has changed that we added is that the My Career and academic planning activities will now occur for all grades 6, 7, and 8. And again, this is really to help determine interest goals and to develop really an academic plan, which may include a CTE program. And a lot of this, just for your first reading, it follows a lot of what the surrounding districts are doing in their model policy as well, too. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Dr. Chen.
Okay.
This is the Dr. Chen evening.
No, it's not Dr.
Certainly
Chen
was.
evening.
Nicole, I believe it's you're up.
Thanks. So included in your packet, you received about a 12-page report from our auditors. This is just our review of our end-of-year financial report. This one is from '24. As some of you might realize, our auditors have changed. So we previously had Powers & Sullivan for many years, and they merged with Markham, and then it later was acquired by CBIZ. So CBIZ is our current auditor, and I just wanted to share this report. It was clean. There were no findings, which basically means that each of the things that they tested were performed without exception. So just wanted to share some good news with the committee, and also give a shout out to Liz Mullen-Montez in my office, because a ton of work goes into doing this report every year, and she's a big part of that.
Could we post this on Facebook?
Sure.
Our audit was perfect.
Madam Chair, again, Nicole, will they catch up eventually and get 25? Like, are they planning to do more than one a year to catch up?
Oh, yeah, so like the work had been done, just the final report hadn't been completed, so I think we've already, we're going to be starting our work on this past year's end-of-year report, which the end-of-year report gets filed September 30th for the prior year, so we're not exactly behind. It just I think the report was lagging a little bit with the mergers there.
Okay, thank you.
Fox Hill School Building Committee? You do it. We just had a Fox Hill School Building Committee prior to this, so we are getting very, very close to being able to put that project out to bid. We got the 90% cost estimate, so they are 90% done with designing the building, and we got that cost estimate, which we'll go in more detail at our meeting next week. But because we wanted to be fiscally responsible, we are looking at items to potentially eliminate from the project to save money. So tonight, we just went through, I think it was 16 items. So we didn't make any decisions, we just went through what those items are. So next week, we will take a look at those items and then vote to submit the 90% document to the MSBA. We're still targeting to be able to go to bid between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So we're getting very close on Fox Hill. Yes.
I think you should mention the degree to which we're coming in so far under budget.
Yeah, we didn't go over the official number. It was going to be come out next week, but I believe we're in the $6 million under budget realm. So the cost estimates are coming in favorable. We were able to increase a couple contingencies. But again, we got those numbers Monday night, so we'll go into much more detail on that next week.
And that's great.
Burlington High School.
Yeah, so since our last meeting, town meeting passed the funding for the special election. I'd like to thank town meeting for that. The special election will take place on November 15th, which is a Saturday. Today, we visited the Council on Aging for a question-answer session, just to make sure we're getting word out to all different kinds of groups of people who might be interested in the project. We're attending Trunk or Treat on October 19th, and our next meeting is this Thursday at 6:30 in this room. I don't know if anyone would add anything else, but...
I'd just like to thank town meeting for letting us go forward with this project, to go to the special election for the debt exclusion. It's a project that 10, 15 years ago was a want, but at this point in time, it's definitely a need. And I'm happy to see it going forward.
Awesome. Facilities update?
Nothing to report.
Okay. Transportation update?
I guess two things to report for transportation. Again, one is we are continuing to monitor buses. We were continue to look at some of the times that the buses are arriving at the schools. We have identified a few buses that are coming closer than we would like. We have asked the bus drivers to make some adjustments to those routes. These are minimal impacts, so we haven't updated the website, but more just how the bus drivers perform those routes and when they start and stop. So we're trying to minimize any impact to the actual route itself, but make sure that we're more on time as according to what the route is posted. Additionally, just an announcement to you all on Monday, 10/6, there was a bus accident, BHS Bus 7. There was some miscommunication from the server side of NRT that got miscommunicated to us. Once we found out what that information was, we have sent the Parent Square message to the parents. Any information that the parents are requesting can be from the bus company. A police report is available on the police report site. I'm not aware that any students are injured, but I'm not making any claim. I'm just saying that there was an accident, and we're trying to communicate that as the best that we can with the knowledge that we have of it. So just wanted to make you aware of it.
Thank you. I think that's it.
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
So there was one mother that was pretty upset, and it might be worthwhile reaching out to her. It's too bad that we didn't know there were kids on the bus, because that delayed the notification, because we thought it was an empty bus, right? So I know that I had a brief conversation with one mother today that was really upset about it, and I feel for her situation. So I'll give you the details.
Yeah, as do I. I mean, there's one mother in particular that I have spoke to on the phone. Not sure if it's the same one, but I'd love to hear
Probably,
that
yeah.
information and share anything that I have with that family or any other family. But
Yeah.
again, there was a miscommunication, and we should own some responsibility on that. I will, definitely. And then there was a delay in my response, making sure that the accurate information got out. So,
When I was in high school, I was in an accident on a school bus, and it was okay. It was not a big deal, but I remember every moment, like it really is a little traumatic to be on a school bus and have it in an accident.
Adding flashbacks to Mr. Murphy.
Mr. Murphy, what did he do?
No, what he would say to that comment.
Oh,
He would ask you if the horse broke its leg.
no, but I still have an implant of a screw on my knee.
It took me a second, now I got it. Sorry, it took me a second. Wow, okay.
Yeah, it was that bad, yes. Tom would give me that kind of trouble.
Oh,
I'm not that old.
oh, goodness gracious. My goodness.
No new old business?
Well, not unless you want to talk about horses with broken legs.
No, I'm good. Anyone?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
And we are
Meeting adjourned. Thank you. Lisa, did you sneak Miles into that presentation?